Okay, but it's okay. Let me ask you this: you fun? You're a fun person to be around. Like, if I was looking for a realtor, I'm like, I need to come to Johnie. So what are some things people can think about and look for that makes somebody a reputable quality realtor, right? Because you see a lot of clientele. Like the average guy, not saying you wouldn't take them in, you're just busy, right? So how can people in their respective environment, let's say in the DFW area, how can they find like reasonable quality realtors that, like, what's some signs they should be looking for?
Their personality, you know, how they, if they are a personality match, you know, you wanna get with somebody that, you know how your personality is. If you're a live person, you know, and stay up, you don't want somebody that's all down around you and talk all down and, hey, you want to see this and you want, you want somebody to match your energy,
right?
For sure. You want to make sure you get somebody that really cares about your needs, really try to learn you and know what you really want. You know, not somebody that's trying to throw houses on you, trying to rush through this deal. Make sure that they really care about you because you come first. You know, I'm big on that. Like I tell my people, like, I know when you really love a house. And I know when you just kind of settling for it. I'm not gonna let you settle. You know, I don't want you to settle. It's not about the dollar for me. Look, I'm gonna treat people good, and all that other stuff will come. You know, so just make sure you're with somebody that really cares, really is trying to figure out your needs and wants, and really be upfront with you. And
relationship over revenue.
You know what? That is important because, like, you know, I did want to ask you this question, so I'm glad we touched on that. So, as a realtor, like, does it matter to who you work with? Like, if they may need help with their credit, or they may be in debt, or they just need a little extra help, like, do agents really may not want to help them as much, or just kind of just want to get rid of them because their credit score may not be where it needs to be, or they just, you know, they may have to come up with a little bit more money. It's going to take them a little longer.
Yeah.
Because the agents that I met before, like, I felt like they told me, oh yeah, the X, Y, and Z, you need more time. But when I met this person, like, I really feel like I have a really high chance, and it was with the same credit score, with the same everything.
Right.
And they made me feel like I didn't have a chance, and this person did.
Yeah.
And my application's looking good.
No, it is agents out there that would rather not deal with somebody that's not ready to go right then and there. You know, you got to get with somebody that's going to nurture you a little bit. You know, that's why we call them leads too, because you got to nurture a lead. You got to make sure you stay in contact. You got to make sure you help them through the process. Like, they're going to be a I don't turn people like that down if I know that they're really serious and really trying to get their stuff together, because look, you can still refer people to me throughout this whole process of you getting your stuff together. True. You know, you got to think of things like that. You got to be good. You got to treat people. Everybody isn't in that situation to where they can just up and buy a house at one time. You know, if you're that super rock star agent that all you touch is people that is $700,
$1 million listings.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's great, but I mean, I know where I come from, so I know I love to help people. I want to see that person who didn't ever think that they could freaking get a house say, "Oh my God, you have helped me through this process, and I actually own a house." Like, that makes me feel good seeing somebody like that.
Okay.
So
what type of loan did you get? Was it an FHA or a conventional loan?
So I'm going through a USDA loan, and that's because it goes back to, it fits in my budget. Not only that, I'm from the country, so I actually like rural areas. Like,
that's nice.
I was born on, like, I was raised on a ranch, so it fits too. And they work with how do I say it? They work with you more than just like
no down payment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it really fits with what I got going on right now.
Oh, you had to have like a farm associated with it?
No, like, it's, so the USDA loan, they help you out, but it has to be in rural areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to purchase a home in a rural area, which I'm okay with, because that's always been, like, anytime when I first moved to Dallas, I was like, I want to live on the outskirts. Oh. So it fits me. So it was like a perfect chance, a perfect opportunity.
So are y'all looking at areas like what's considered like rural versus city as a realtor more per se?
No, okay. I mean, I just look wherever someone say they want to be. You know, I don't be like, oh, this is a rural area or this is city. No, what city do you want to live in?
Got you. So the question I had so you said look for personality.
Yeah.
So say you like, this personality is great, right? But what if I'm still getting, I didn't catch down the line till it's all said and done, I'm still getting joled. Like outside of personality, right? The personality is great. What are some things that I need to know? Like, they may not be worth their salt. They don't actually have the type of quality that's going to help you get the deal done in your best interest, right?
Right. If they're not giving you knowledge and going step by step through this process with you, or how this process will be laid out, and just kind of just lay it all out on the table, let you know, hey, this is what you expect this is what you should expect from me.
Okay.
You know, and if they're not being upfront with you like that, then maybe that's not the person. You know, it's just the little things that you got to catch on to. You know, the little things that they say, if they're talking about hurrying up and closing a deal. You know, I want you in the house fast and close this. Like, maybe that's not the person. Maybe they just looking for that money, for that check. You know, it's just little things that you'll catch on to know. You know what? Maybe they don't have my best interest. You know, and you're gonna walk away from them and go and interview with somebody else.
That makes sense, because I think sometimes we like, hey, I want to shine the young guy. You might have a buddy, you know, you went to college with, and you know, he's doing his thing. But then it's like, I might run into a Johnny. He been doing it for a minute. He's in the game. Like, you know, you kind of feel conflicted, right? Do you take the chance on the new guy, or do you kind of go the veteran route?
If that new guy seems like he has got a ton of knowledge on him from what he's learned, and he lets you know that he has some support, you know, a mentor that's helping him through this thing, you can give them, if it's your friend, give him a shot.
Okay.
You know, if he really got the support. I won't say that I see a lot of new people in this business get in there and they end up being rock stars. I see them in my own company. So somebody done gave him a shot. You know what I mean? So it's not a thing about how long you've been. You can be in this thing 20 years and still be a terrible real estate agent. You know, so it's not about the timing all the time. It's about the knowledge you've gained and the support you have that helps you through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so for those, if you get that gut feeling, you want to mess with the agent, don't mess with them. Because if I would have stayed with that, like, I wouldn't even be where I'm at right now. So I'm glad, because it was discouraging. It was so discouraging. I'm just like, ugh. And then, you know, a few months later, it's like completely different story. So don't give up.
Absolutely. Don't give up. I'm a firm believer in God.
Amen.
If you really want it and you praying for it, it can happen.
Amen.
It might not even be on your timing, but it can happen. don't give up on that. You know what I mean? Don't let anybody tell you never buy a house or you can't afford this house. It can happen.
Amen. So you mentioned that someone's years of experience don't necessarily equate to the value of their work as a potential agent for you. Could you list another common misconception about the real estate market that people may not know about?
I mean, a common misconception that people may not know about.
Yes.
I really, that's
uncommon.
I know, like,
it is what you get.
I mean, real estate. It's kind of just plain out, flat out. You know, you're gonna get what you
put in.
What you put into it. Like if you half-ass it, that's what you're gonna get out. You're not gonna have a lot of business. You're not gonna. But if you put everything into it and you say, hey, this is what I want to do, and you put your head down and you do it, it can work for you.
Absolutely.
You know, it can definitely work for you.
So is real estate, do a lot of people, would you say there's more people that real estate's their main job, their only job, or it's their part-time job?
It's a lot of people in the industry where it's their part-time job. You know, they still do something. I say this, honestly. If you're not in a position to be able to have money, just go all the way into real estate and have just all the way, no other job, and still maintain all your bills and stuff, don't just jump into that thinking that you're about to make money right off the bat.
Okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you're not ready to go full time in real estate, our company ain't for you. You know, like get with somebody that say, hey, you could join our company part time, but we'll still work with you. You know, so things like that. But it's kind of tough for somebody brand new to just jump in and say, okay, I'm about to make some money this first month to cover all my bills. I tell them all the time, look, if you can maintain your regular job for a while until your real estate business start to blow up, I mean, then do that. I mean, I'm a firm believer in that. There's nothing wrong with people that do that. I feel like that's a route to go if you can do that. So, but it just depends on how much you want to go face first, dive in it.
Okay.
So noted. I have to pay my son's bills for the whole first year of his real estate. Got it. I won't put no pressure on him. I got it. I got you, baby. I got your back.
Hey, you might jump in and be a rock star.
Yeah, he is.
Absolutely.
I think he's been wanting to do it. It's the only thing he's ever said. So
yeah.
There you go.
Well, let me ask one. Let me ask one question there real quick. You mentioned the numbers of it all. So, people be like, hey, I think, cause it's just you usually get, man, you can lower your bill because the realtor gets this percentage and, they take 10%, 7%, 4%, 5%, the numbers all over the place, right? People just really know what they know online, right?
Right.
So what's some honest things of like, what do realtors get? Because sometimes people feel like, oh, you be your own realtor, right? You got friends like, just do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
And you can do it, you can save all that money, pocket your money. So I guess what would be, right, what's the actual number realtors receive from a deal? Obviously it varies, right? But what's the, the average per se? And then like, what is the misconception of like, hey, don't get a realtor? And I guess more so like the benefit of having a realtor.
Okay. So the average is 6%, 3% to the buyer's agent, 3% to the seller's agent.
Okay.
Okay. So the people that don't want to get a agent, they're crazy. Because you're not going to get the exposure that you really want from your listing if you list it yourself.
Yeah.
We're going to have it on all kind of different platforms.
Okay.
From the MLS to all the social medias to all the Trulias, Realtor.coms. People who list their own home, they don't get all that. Who's gonna you don't really, unless they really know contracts, like how are you gonna really know what's really going on with this real estate contract? Why not? I mean, I know it's gonna cost you a couple of $1,000, but if you're making $100,000, why not pay a professional to make sure it goes right instead of take the risk of having to get sued later in the deal? You just the knowledge that a realtor brings to the table when it comes to listing a home, I don't see why not come get a realtor when it comes to that.
And appraisals are they mandatory for people to sell their home, get under their contract, and for their home to be sellable on the market?
If they're getting a loan, you have to get an appraisal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
For sure. If they're getting a loan, like a cash deal, you don't have to.
Oh,
Yeah, cash, you don't need the
just
appraisal
go.
if you're paying all cash.
Right.
So then what would be like the typical process? 'Cause most people I don't think is coming, I mean, you know better than me. I don't think most people just coming straight cash, right?
Yeah.
Most people probably coming in a loan situation.
Absolutely.
So what's like a high level, like what's the process, right? I show up, I'm like, do I get on Zillow? I'm like, oh, look, Johnny.
After you've gotten pre-qualified for your loan?
Yeah, say like I happen to call, bank. I'm like, hey, I need some money. They're like, here, we could probably get you this type of money. All right, hey, I got a pre-qualified check here, right? What do I do next? Like, what's usually the process from start to that finish?
First, you're gonna talk to a real estate agent.
Okay, so I'm calling Johnny. Boom.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we're just gonna kind of talk about. I'm gonna see what you're qualified for. I'm gonna ask you what you're qualified for.
Okay.
Then we're gonna kind of talk about what you're looking for.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about your areas. We're gonna talk about bedrooms. If you have a preference on the year build, all your preferences, all your wants versus all your needs, because it's different. You know what I mean? You can want some things that you don't need, and that really makes a big difference when it comes to buying a home. Because some of that stuff don't fit in some budgets when it comes. So you got to stop pick and choose now.
Okay.
Do you want this or do you need this?
Okay.
Okay. So
Housewarming
things like
gifts.
that. Yeah. So next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna figure that out, and then I'm gonna get a search set up.
Okay.
And start emailing you some listings.
Okay.
Let you go through those listings, depending on what you've told me that you're looking for, and if you see some things that you like, you're gonna say, hey, Johnny, I want to see this home.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get out. We're gonna go view the homes that you want to see. You see something that you totally love. I don't want you to like it.
Okay.
It can't just be okay. I think this will do. No, it won't do. Okay, we gonna get something that you love.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
So once we find that, then we're gonna discuss what we're gonna offer for that home.
Okay.
And then once that, I'm gonna run the numbers. I'm gonna run comps and see what I think that we should offer.
Okay.
And then we're gonna discuss that. If we're in agreement, I'm gonna write up that contract. You're gonna sign it.
Okay.
I'm gonna submit it to the buyer. To the seller's agent. They're gonna take it back to the seller. If they want to counter, they come back, say no, we want this number. Or if they accept, hey, we're gonna go ahead and move forward with this.
Okay.
Now, so it's something called earnest money and option fee money.
Oh, now we talking. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Break it down. Break
So-
it down.
So
Here
once
we
you
go.
get under contract, so in the contract, you're going to negotiate this earnest money and option fee money. The earnest money is typically 1%. That's the rule of thumb. 1% of whatever the sales price is.
Okay.
So if the sales price is $350, that'll be $3,500.
Okay.
For the earnest money.
Okay.
Earnest money is kind of like a deposit, like you're putting a deposit on that home.
Okay.
And then you have an option fee, and that's we typically go 7 days, depending on if the market competitive. You might drop those option fee days, but those are the days that you get to like do the inspection and back out of that contract if you want to, and still get your earnest money back.
Oh, it's refundable.
Yeah, the earnest money is refundable if you counsel within a certain amount of time.
Gotcha.
You have two ways to get out of that. Either the option period within those 7 days.
Okay.
If y'all can't come to agreements on like the repairs that need to be made, then you can back out of that. You'll lose your option money. The option money is typically about $100, $200.
Oh, okay. So
You'll lose that. Like that when you pay that option money.
Yeah.
That's if you don't close on that deal, that's gone.
Okay.
But like if you close on the deal, the option money and the earnest money goes toward whatever you needed to bring to close the money that you needed to bring. So it goes towards that.
Okay.
But if you have to cancel the option money, you lose that regardless. If it's in 1 day or 2 days, you still lose the option money, but you can get the earnest money back.
Okay. Okay.
So-
Within a certain time period.
It's a certain time period. And then like when it comes to lending, if you can't close on that home because of lending, like we have certain days in that contract that you have to know before. I can't get this because my lending falling through, that you can get that earnest money back. Like I typically put 21 days for lending.
Okay.
If we can't figure out in 21 days that we're gonna close or not, then we're not gonna get that option. If it's the 22nd day and we come back to them and say, dang, we can't get this loan, you lost that earnest money. Because you had 21 days to tell them that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the earnest money is to help the person selling to keep them.
You gotta know it's like a deposit. Let them know you for real about this.
Like
You
a
putting this money
deposit
up.
Yeah,
on a hair point.
They could have went with
Okay,
somebody
I'm
else.
really-
Absolutely.
Now, is that a state law? Is that a federal law? Is that just like a courtesy
that's-
thing, or how does that?
No, that's the law. Now it's in the contract because it's in the
That's a
contract.
real law.
Anything that's in the contract, you're supposed to do that.
Okay,
Like, I mean,
okay.
it's all negotiable. Like it's not something that say you got to put up 1%.
Okay.
Like if you put less and the other agent accepts that, then that's just what it is.
Oh, okay.
But you
okay.
got to put up some type of earnest money.
Oh, okay. Now now we getting talking because now I think it's you got to have the right guy.
Yeah.
Y'all listen up. You got to have the right guy then to help write a solid contract.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So then the contract has a lot of power because then that person's trusting you that this makes sense, and we're bringing that to the seller where it's putting us in the best position for timing, for inspections, keeping the option money in a favorable for me, keeping the earnest money in favorable for me as well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, they got a guy that they're trying to work with, and it's pretty much battle of, I'm assuming they have a realtor too, so it's like battle of realtor to see who knows more about the game to get the better end of the deal. Am I assessing that correctly?
I mean, I won't say it's a battle of the realtor, but it's just when it comes to the earnest and option, it's just kind of like we kind of know, okay, this is what it should be, and this is probably what we're gonna do.
Okay.
When like the option fee, like depending on if you want a longer option fee that's 7 days, you're gonna need to put up more than $100. You know, things like that. So we do. We do. If it makes sense, we will try to negotiate the option fee just for a little bit more.
Absolutely.
But if it doesn't, it's no big deal. We're hoping to get to that closing table anyway.
Okay, so we done hit the earnest option. We done that. We made maybe some agreements there. Okay, where am I going next to get to the close?
Now we've made it through the option period.
Okay.
We've gotten all the repairs that you've requested done. They agreed to it.
Okay.
Now from there, it's kind of downhill. Well, I won't say that because I have seen. But it's more of the rest. So after the option period, that's typically when the lender will go ahead and order the appraisal.
Okay.
They want to make sure you make it through the option period most of the time before, unless it's a deal that needs to be closed fast.
Okay.
They'll go ahead and order that appraisal early.
Okay.
But typically they wait to make sure that we're going to stay under contract.
Okay.
Then they order that appraisal.
Okay.
So then the appraiser come out. That could take a week or two.
Okay.
And for the people who don't know, appraisal is someone who comes out objectively determining the value of the home.
Yeah. Because if the value of the home doesn't meet what you're under contract for, you got to cancel that contract. But the seller can come down to that price and then you can move forward.
Okay.
But if they don't want to agree to coming down to that price, you have the right to back out of that contract.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when it comes to the appraisal.
What did you
Okay.
get an appraisal before the contract?
No, while you're under contract.
Oh, so
Because typically the lender orders the appraisal.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't want to do it before the contract because you don't even know if they're going to accept your offer. You know what I mean?
so it wouldn't happen in that option period.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it doesn't happen in the option period.
So is the lender paying for the appraisal, or is it typically coming out of our pocket?
It come out of your pocket. So the inspection, the appraisal, all that comes out of your pocket.
So they pick a guy. So what if you're like, hey, I know a guy.
No.
There we go.
There you go.
You gonna set me
I'm
straight.
glad you know that guy. He's probably awesome, but we gonna use our guy. You know what I mean?
Okay. I see where it's going downhill.
Yeah, you can pick your inspector.
Okay.
Now that's who you have the authority to pick.
Okay.
And typically, the agent gonna help you. If you don't know anybody, the agent have plenty of inspectors that they might use or refer you to.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So then you would do. Do you think the lender, when they're having an appraisal, will they require 2 inspections or just 1 inspection, right? Or
No, so the appraiser can come back and say, hey, this needs to be fixed for this house to meet the value.
Okay.
First.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
They'll help you out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they'll kind of tell you what needs to be done. Things like if a home needs an AC unit, you're not gonna get a loan yet. That's all that kind of stuff from the foundation. If the foundation is horrible, all that kind of stuff needs to be repaired before you get some of these loans. It just depends on the loan that you're getting.
Absolutely.
When it comes to certain criteria like that.
okay, so we're downhill. We've done the appraisal. Appraisal's done. It came back green light. House looking good. I did the optional. I did the
Inspection.
Inspection,
I
yeah.
almost said renewable. What's the word we use?
I already forgot the R.
The R one.
Reset.
No, the
Help.
No.
Ayúdame,
No,
help.
hold on. It's the earnest money. Earnest money and optional, right?
and option money,
We've
yeah.
done that part. We've done the appraisal. We've done the inspection. That's out the way. I got a good draft in the contract. We're on this downhill train. All right, from this downhill point, what's from that point to the complete? Where we at?
So the lender is still finishing up all his paperwork stuff, taking everything through underwriting, making sure that all your information is good to go. They're doing all the verifications with your job still, the last of that. And once you get that approval from the underwriting, then it's time to rock and roll, because typically the title company has already cleared the title. By this process, they've already got the title clear. They've done all that work. in the background.
Well, what's
So-
the title? Break that down to us in a nutshell.
So the title is, what you get when you purchase that home.
Okay.
Saying that you own that home.
Oh,
so now
okay.
this home is yours, so you get the title to this home.
Oh, okay. Kind of like title of the car in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
There you go.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
in that sense, like the title of a car.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
then.
then are we at those Instagram pictures?
We got the
Is that the final step?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You go to that title company or wherever you want to sign those documents at. And then it's time to take some pictures.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.